we're looking at my 8-wheel drive amphibious Argo. If you go back through some of my older videos, you'll see plenty of these. The place looks like a bomb's hit it, but that's because I've been in the middle of doing services and I ran out of energy halfway through, so I do have some cleanup to do after this. But the sun is starting to go down and a new pair of things have arrived. These are H11 LED globes, if I can get them out one-handed. They have a little cooling fan on the back, which I think is a point of failure, but these were insanely cheap. So we're going to rip out the 40 watt high beams out of this, or 40 watt halogens, and see how they work. Now, it's worth noting that with these light fittings, which you probably can't see really well from there, you can access them from behind, but the heat shields and everything behind them make that pretty well impossible to actually get the globes out. So I find it far easier to pull the globe on the whole light assembly out the front. Now, there are some captive nuts in here that will fall through. So before we pull all the screws out, we're going to open the lid, because these captive nuts are not strictly captive. So we'll get this fitting out and we'll come back. Alright, we have the light assembly out, which is a plastic one. And talking about the captive nuts, they're more like, you know, washer kind of things. I've dropped 2 of these in here because they're 2 that I just can't simply reach. But the self-tapping screws are probably enough to hold them in. But I can procure some more of those little captive things later. You can see where I've busted a clip off here when I took this globe out previously to test it. So now I think these guys twist about 45 degrees and come out. And these are just a little 40 watt halogen. So pay careful attention to the arrangement of these clips, and also the arrangement of the divider and stuff in here. There are various different types that look almost the same. It was a lot of research. I determined that what I had was a H11, but I've got a compatible one that doesn't have that little divider in there. Now, these are polarized. So I'm hoping I can get this in the right way. So we're looking at this with that clip being downwards. So that means we would put it in this orientation, I think. I'm just going to turn the headlights on and see if it works. Alright, that appears to work. And I just tore my pants climbing down, so... Alright, let's see if these will fit in here as intended. Oh, they don't quite fit through that hole. That is going to be a problem. I'm going to have to take a slight little bit off that corner, I think. I'll take this inside and modify slightly. Alright, well, it goes in. I had to take away almost all of that bit, but it gets in there. Now I need to find the way the keyway fits. Somewhere about that orientation, I think. Oh, it might just... We'll be back once I figure this out. Okay, so from what I've determined here, there's an additional step. So these are probably different globes, to be honest. They are slightly different sizes. We can see there is definitely a difference in the size in that fitting. So I'm going to engineer a way to get this to go in anyway. But that is unfortunate. They look practically the same. The sockets are the same, but this is a different size. That's a real trap to fall into. But I reckon I can probably make it fit. And I'm going to modify the globe rather than the fitting, so that I can still put the original light back in if it doesn't work. We might end up gluing this in here if it does, but we'll see what happens. Alright, well, we got them in. What I did is I took a pair of flush cutters and adjusted the hole slightly till they were a firm fit. And then I've put a bead of good Loctite super glue around here. I could probably order the correct globes for this, but there are so many H series globe variations, I don't even know if I'd get the right thing after waiting for 2 months. So I am crucially going to check that these work each time I plug them in, and hopefully we'll have them working before the sun sets, which is about 2 fingers off the horizon. So this part of the hemisphere, and at this time of year, that's about 10 minutes per finger. So we'd better get going. All right, now we've got another problem that I did kind of suspect might be an issue. These things are too long, and after I've already glued them in. That's going to be fun. We might have to do further mods, and that's an aluminium assembly. Let me think about this. All right, I came up with a compromise that's not perfect because I've got a bit of a gap under here, but I pushed the plastic divider up for the air intake and I whacked a screw here to hold it off the lights a bit. It does fit, but I will get the proper things that do fit in the future. But for now, they work. I can turn them all on and they are considerably brighter than the headlights that were in there. But we'll come back later tonight and test them out in the dark so you can get a better idea. But yes, the other globes were considerably shorter and are fitting smaller, so I have got the incorrect globes. I tried real hard to get this right, but turns out they're not H11s. There's something smaller. But in all this tech specs I looked at, they didn't represent these as any different in size. And they do say something about S10 on here. So maybe they're a small version of an H10. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how these go. They might be alright as is. We'll find out. Alright, so it's not completely dark yet, but it's certainly dark enough that the GoPro doesn't like it. So let's turn these lights on. Well, certainly a whole lot brighter than the other ones. They're going to be a lot more useful. I will find a way to fit these in here, but it's going to require some more mods. I'm thinking maybe some headlight spacers to bring them forward a little bit. Might laser cut something, or I might get the correct globes. But that's still not going to solve the problem with the space behind it. But anyway, I'm doing reasonably well, so I could do what some of the other forum members have done and get the square LED work lights and mount them straight in the hole too. Don't know yet. I'll think about it, but for now we do have LED headlights, although it's a bit of a failure. It still works at least.